You know what I mean? Like, this is unprecedented. We have so much pressure on us from every avenue, from ourselves to be great mothers, to be teachers, to be business people, to be whoever we're trying to be in this world. It's impossible. And so
Right.
I'm grateful. I was grateful for that email. I'm horrified that an email like that had to be written in 2021, like we thought we'd be like in flying cars, and
yes,
I don't know that like
we
wouldn't be like
when I was a kid. Where is it?
Rosie and the Jetsons, it was all alive.
I married Elroy
right.
too, so I really
her husband's name really is
Elroy. Yeah.
Is it Elroy?
And he does like to tinkle.
He does. So I'm like, I
love it.
This is not fair.
Yeah, if any of
It's
us
not.
get flying car, it'll be her.
Yes. And somehow we're back in like 1950s, both with race issues and
Right.
the whole people that want 1950s back are vocal and empowered right now, and it's
Right.
It's
And they're
awful.
getting this screen time and taking up space in our minds, right? So I think that you taking the, this space and opportunity that you had already created, and then knowing that, feeding your soul and your mind, inundating it with positive images and people is so intuitive, and just thank you for sharing it with us.
Thank you. And I think it also, it's funny because we've never met, like we've met in person obviously, but we've never met in person. And we actually only connected very recently, but I think that this goes to the foundation of what we're talking about today, which is that we need to look to each other to hold each other up, and then we also need to look at each other to be able to do the holding. Mm-hmm. So it's both letting people know that we're there for them, but also being, like you said, Caitlin, willing to say and recognize I need to be held right now.
Absolutely.
Normalizing that sometimes it's okay to not be okay is so important, and I feel like that gets swept under the rug a lot of the time.
Yeah, and I think that's a great segue into introducing everybody.
Okay. It is. Yep. I'll pause just for a second so you have a nice place to start when you are doing that.
When I go to edit?
Yeah, when you
Okay.
You know what you can do, for editing, which I don't do, but I just realized as I'm listening to you two, is you can clap and make like a big thing so you can see the spike where you should edit.
Oh, yeah.
Actually does the 3 clicks. Yeah, the 3 clicks.
Oh, okay. Yeah, something visual. Awesome.
Go ahead and click.
So, I'm not good at clicking. All right. So on this episode of Doula to Doula, we have visitors, which just always makes me so happy. So we have Caitlin and Jess from Be Her Village, and they're going to tell us how we can help continue to support birth givers and birth and all things babies. So Caitlin and Jess, welcome. We're so happy to have you guys here.
Yay.
Thank you so much. It is so wonderful to be here with you two today.
Yes, thank you. Hello.
Hello.
So we were just talking about supporting one another, and not necessarily just in birth, but through this time, through this pandemic, what it looks like to actually ask for help and give help. And one of the reasons that I created Be Her Village, and that we're helping moms get support and helping parents get connected with support providers, is because we want to actually stop putting the pressure on individuals to ask for help, because that's kind of where we are right now. We're waking up to the fact that we need more than just gifts in terms of like boxes of stuff that sits in our house. We need more than wipe warmers and bouncers and strollers. We need the warmth and love of our community. We need the wisdom of people who have come before us, people who know how to care for a baby, who know how to help us in our time of need, who have walked our path before. We need to be connected with those people. But right now we have this structure where, we decide we're going to grow our family however we might grow it. And, we find success in that, and we have a baby in our house. And then it's like, oh, okay, what do I do now? And the onus at this point is on the person who's struggling to do quite a few things. Number one, recognize they're struggling. Number two, tell people they're struggling. And number three, get the help they need. And there is a lot of work in each of those things. There are complete skill sets in that, in recognizing you're struggling, because sometimes you're in the struggle so deep you don't even know you're struggling. You're drowning, and it just feels like this is how I live now. At least that's how my experience was. And then there's asking for help, and asking for help is hard. It's really hard. And we can go out there as birth workers and as women and as people who support growing families and say, ask for help. Let's normalize asking for help. Let's normalize this, and it's like, yes, absolutely. Let's normalize it. Let's talk about it. But also, can we just help people? Can we make helping people be the norm so that people aren't getting into crisis, and the onus isn't on individual people to get into crisis, so we don't have new parents sitting there unsupported, not knowing how to care for their babies, not knowing how to live with a newborn, sleep deprived, not able to eat, not able to care for themselves, and then having to go out and figure out who they can hire, how they can hire them, and how to pay for them. That's a whole job on its own. And so Be Her Village, and what we're trying to do with Be Her Village, is to not just be a gift registry for support, not just be a way to get cash in the hands of parents and growing families, but a way to actually shift our American culture into something that is supporting parents as routinely as we're buying them bibs and bottles and car seats and strollers. Because that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, that is so fantastic. I mean, when I was having my children, my mom had already passed away. She had passed away years before. So I approached kind of like the childbearing years without that foundation. And when I heard about Be Her Village, I was like, this is amazing, because it bridges the gaps that a lot of us have in our lives. And for me, like, I thought if I got everything off of my registry, I should be totally prepared to be a parent. Like, I checked out my boxes, I looked at every list, I Googled like everything, and I had things in my home. Yeah. Absolutely. And when I was home with my baby, I was like, wait, okay, not everything comes in a box that I need to support my emotions and my well-being and my family. And then some of the support that I thought, like if I reached out emotionally, people were like, well, you should be happy you had a healthy baby. But there's so much more to child rearing than having a healthy child. So I just need to hear what you're doing.
What has really happened, and what we're trying to address here, is that we've completely missed the point of the baby shower. The baby shower has become a gift-giving occasion for babies. Everybody loves to buy cute little newborn baby outfits that are super fancy, very uncomfortable, and will stay on them for about 5 minutes, maybe, if they even get on them in the first place. They love buying baby gear, baby stuff, baby this. And we're missing the point of the baby shower. The baby shower is the only milestone, the only celebration of the parental milestone. As we celebrate when when we're born, we celebrate when we have birthdays, we celebrate when we graduate, we celebrate when we get engaged, when we get married, when we get promotions, when we retire. We have one celebration when we become parents, which, first of all, we should have a bunch more because we deserve a lot of celebrating. But there's only one major gift-giving occasion for parents right now, and that is the baby shower. And what are we doing at that baby shower? We are buying gifts for the baby, and largely gifts that the baby doesn't need. Because we all know, right? Everyone on this call knows what do babies need? Babies need happy, calm, well-supported parents. And that is where our focus needs to be for baby showers. We need to think not what does the baby need, but what do these parents need? What do they need to feel emotionally supported? What do they need to get their basic needs met? Because you can't meet the basic needs of a baby unless your needs are met, unless you're well rested, unless you're cared for, unless you're feeling nurtured and comforted by the people surrounding you.
Yeah. And I think it's a revolutionary idea, because as soon as a person finds out they're pregnant, if they have a partner, that partner is almost discounted at that point. Like, the focus is all on the pregnant person. And then in the birthing room, again, the partner is not really included in a lot of that, which is why our work as doulas is so important. But then as soon as the baby's born, it's like all of a sudden, not only does the partner not really exist, but the birth giver fades into the distance as well, and everybody's attention is on the baby. So if we're looking at ways to really make a difference in families, which will ripple into positive effects into our communities, and then beyond that, is we need to recognize that the baby that's coming has, like you said, it has adults in their life that need support from the point that they find out that they're pregnant all the way through. And they need that support together, because I know a lot of male partners, when the baby comes, they want to do something. They want to help the baby sleep. They want to help the baby eat. And a lot of times they just don't know how to do that. And if they have some kind of support afterward, then, or even preparation prior to, with somebody who's dedicated to supporting that team, that's going to really help everything along. And like you said, Caitlin, help that baby settle in a much more calm and happy atmosphere. And with Be Her Village, you offer an avenue for that support to be accessible.
And we love that.
Yay! So actually, you just kind of hit on a point I really want to go back to.
Okay.
And I want to share my own experience, if that's okay with you. You said, the partners want to help, they're not really sure how to help, and it's great to have someone in that, postpartum doula or lactation consultant or a baby wearing specialist or, et cetera, et cetera. There's so many people that can help families. But I want to paint a different picture. I want to paint the picture of my first birth. And I planned an out-of-hospital birth with midwives. I took the childbirth education class. I didn't hire the doula. Huge amount of regret. Hire the doula. I ended up with an unwanted emergency C-section. And my husband, on the day that I left the hospital, was at work. And this is why we need Be Her Village. Because there is no paid paternity leave. There is no paid maternity leave. We are the only developing country that does not pay for anyone to have time off after their baby, to learn how to feed, to learn how to soothe, to hold your baby, to bond, to recover your body after birth, or even if you haven't given birth, to get adjusted to this new incredible life that you're living now, when you're living in 3-hour cycles of eating, sleeping, pooping, and repeat, right? And so what we have is we have a country that doesn't value parents, doesn't value mothers especially. There are significant challenges that mothers face that fathers don't, and it is part of the reason we use gendered language in our messaging and in our name, because there is a specific challenge there, although we are welcome and open and inclusive to anybody who wants to, utilize our platform. We are open, and we just are loving and welcoming everybody. But there are challenges, and it starts at the top, right? Like the public sector, the public health in our country is not taking care of parents and is not taking care of babies. We don't have paid maternity leave, paternity leave. We don't have subsidized daycare. We don't have supports coming to the home. In other countries, you look at Europe, they're getting pelvic floor therapy during pregnancy and after pregnancy, just routinely. That's just what the government pays for. You have universal health care. You have a year of parental leave, and you can split it between parents if you'd like to at 80% of your salary. You have healthcare workers coming to your home and checking on you. You have nurses visiting you and teaching you how to breastfeed. So these are the supports. We know this is what's frustrating, right? As a mother first, and then as a birth worker second. It's frustrating because it's not like we're sitting here saying, oh, what's the answer? Nobody knows. We know what works. We know what works. Doulas work. Childbirth education works. Postpartum doulas work. Lactation consultants work. Pelvic floor specialists work. Maternal mental health specialists work. Community works. Hands-on care works. That is what makes outcomes better for parents and outcomes better for babies. So we have the answers, but our government and our public sector isn't choosing to value that. We're the only developing country that has a rising maternal mortality rate, a rising, disparity that Black women and women of color are dying at 4 to 12 times the rate of white women. And we have a country that doesn't care. So Be Her Village is actually not just, a gift registry where, hey, you can get some cash in your account, which it is exactly that. Like, hey, you're pregnant and you want some extra cash to spend on whatever you might need. Cool. Like, because you don't need 43 newborn sized onesies, right? For those photo ops, you need cash in your account so you can go out and get the care you need, because our public sector isn't providing it. So we are a private sector solution to empower communities to take care of their own.
Yeah.
Because we're waking up to the fact that, this capitalism and this idea of huge corporations and conglomerates and factories in China are telling us what we need in our houses to be good parents. I think this generation, all of us included, and the ones coming after us, we're waking up no, that's not what I need, because I have a tiny apartment and I don't want boxes and boxes of stuff. I want to support small local businesses. I want services. I want an experience. I want to feel cared for and get a massage and take a yoga class and have a mommy and me group that I go to, rather than have a bouncer and a stroller and a wipe warmer and whatever else. So Be Her Village is essentially my approach to how do we fix this? Because this is a problem. We are ignoring parents.
Right.
We're ignoring mothers. We're ignoring horrible health outcomes. And I always, when people ask me what I wanted to be when I was a kid, I was like, I want to be queen of the world. That's not a position, but that's what I want to be. And I don't have the patience or the personality to play whatever political games we need to get me to be queen of the world. But I can throw together a website and say, hey, birth workers, you want more families? Hey, families, you need these birth workers. Let's all get together and let's get some funds out of Bye Bye Baby and out of Amazon. Oh my goodness, Jeff Bezos, come on. We need your money. We need the funds coming directly to parents and directly into the communities that are supporting them, so that we can all have better outcomes. And it's really a call to action for our country to step up and do something better. Mm-hmm. And it's happening not in the White House and on this large political level. It's happening in small communities like ours.
Yeah.
Right. So we can normalize these services and really bring them to the forefront, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what's nice about, at least if, I'm still learning about Be Her Village, even though I'm on there, I'm still, eagerly, filing away all of the different points, is because the cash is going into the account of the birth giver, because things can change throughout a person's pregnancy. So maybe at the very beginning, they say, oh, I know I'm going to want, say, this, whatever the support is, and then something happens in pregnancy and their provider is saying, you know what, this alters how you can live your day-to-day life, or this alters how you might have to plan for your baby's birth, and they can actually then use their money towards another avenue of support that maybe is much more going to be applicable to them at that time. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm glad you're asking these questions, because it's confusing. There's so many ways that it can work. So let me just put it out there really, really simply. For the pregnant person or the growing family that comes to our site, they're going to make a registry. The registry is free, right? So they can make a registry and find, they can find you, Exie, on there, right? They can be like, oh, I want a massage because that's what I need, way more than I need, 4 bibs for my baby. So let me get a massage. I'm going to look it up by my zip code. Oh, there's Exie. Let me click on her business. I'm going to contact her. Oh, I found a massage therapist, throwing her on my registry. Great. Or you have a registrant coming who's like, oh, I am already using a doula. I know which LC I want, and I want to take a yoga class. So they come and they actually make a custom registry listing. They can make the registry look however they want, and it's completely free for the growing family, because this platform is about increasing access. So we didn't want any barriers for the pregnant people and the birthing people and the families that are using it. It needs to be a way to access the support you need and the funds for that support with no barriers. So that's what it looks like for the pregnant person or that family. They are connecting their bank account, and it's all done through Stripe. It's all very safe and protected. We don't have any of your information, and friends and family can gift you specific services, and the funds are going right into your bank account. It works a lot like Honey Fund. So Honey Fund is like fundraising for your honeymoon, but rather than just saying, hey, I want money for my honeymoon, it's like, buy us a candlelit dinner on the beach, or buy us a couples massage at the spa. And you can feel like you're sending beautiful, impactful gifts for their honeymoon experience. It's very similar, but just for baby showers. So instead of buying you, a bunch of baby gear from Bye Bye Baby, I'm buying you your doula, which I know will have an impact for the rest of your life, because the way you're made to feel at your birth is, impactful and stays with you. So that's what it feels like for the registrant. For the gift buyer, they're able to buy a gift knowing that if there is a change in plans, their gift isn't wasted. I didn't want it to be where you buy a specific service and then when things change, because they always change, right? Because that's motherhood and that's parenthood, that when something changes, they're still funding the support experience for that parent. And then for the birth workers, I was putting on different hats as I was creating this. And then I put on my doula hat and I thought, what would I use, right? And I remember going to my doula training and I was full of passion and full of energy, and still full of passion. I don't know if I'm as full of energy as I used to be. And I was trained and I was ready to help families. So I was like, okay, where are the families? Where do I find the families? Because I'm ready to go and I want to work with the mamas and I want to work in the L&D rooms and I want to help people have a better experience. And here I am trying to drum up business. And so Be Her Village essentially is this place where we can have birth workers join, and birth workers being a really expansive term for us. It's not just doulas, it's childbirth educators, it's chiropractors, it's acupuncturists, it's anyone who's supporting the family on their journey. They can, for a few $100 a year, they can come in, which is like, it's less than $1 a day. It's really, really cheap, quite honestly. It's cheaper than it should be, I'm pretty sure. But they can come in and they can have access to all of these families who are looking for support, who understand the value of the support, and more importantly, have the barrier of finances removed. Because how many of us find families that want to work with us and they say, I know I need a doula. I know I need this because I need to have support during this time, but I don't have any money. I don't have any out-of-pocket, cash for you, and insurance isn't covering you. And I just had my baby shower, but now I have that room full of stuff, And so for the birth worker community and the businesses that are supporting mothers and families, we are offering them a way to, with a really low cost that they're going to get back across the, the lifetime of our relationship, many, many, many times over, a way to kind of plug in and not have to reinvent the wheel. You get blog posts and podcasts and, listings on the registry guide and social media promotions. And pretty much you have this community of people who is working to grow your business with you rather than having to work in silo. Yeah. And I want to make just a specific point about that, is that so many of us that are in this field are solo entrepreneurs or mompreneurs or work in small practices. And when we work in silo, when we work on our own, we're doing great work, don't get me wrong. So if that's your thing, that's great. But the only way that we're going to reach the masses, which is what I want to do, I want every single woman to think, oh, which doula am I going to add to my gift registry? I want that to be the normal question, right along with car seats and strollers. In order to do that, we're going to have to band together and we're going to have to amplify each other's voices. And Be Her Village is the platform to do that, because everyone can send their clients and benefit from everybody else's audience and women that they're reaching. And we can reach more people by having a tool to offer our clients and to be talking about each other's practices. Because there can be this, scarcity mindset of like, oh, and somehow I'm saying especially doulas because I'm a doula and that's just what I'm exposed to. But like this idea of like, oh, well, somebody else got a client. That means I don't have a client, And I actually reject that outright.
I do too.
I think that, I know that's why we're all in this together, right? Because we reject it completely.
Yeah,
I
massage
think
therapists and yoga instructors probably run into the same thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think it's in each of our individual fields. And there's this idea that like, oh, so she got a client, I didn't. I think, oh, she got a client, that client's going to have such a great experience with her and tell 3 of her friends, and her friends are going to call me, And every time somebody in our field reaches another person, then we're spreading the word and we're getting more people supported. Because at the end of the day, the vast majority of birthing people are not getting the support they need, and they're suffering poor health outcomes because of it. And when we band together and we amplify each other's messages and we give them tools to pay for our services while we work on, behind the scenes of getting the research done and getting insurance companies to cover and making our care ubiquitous with just American maternity care, it's really a matter of coming together. So. Yeah. So that's what Be Her Village is. It's really a community of, abundance theory. Let's work together and let's do this in a big way, right? Let's make our industry come together in one place so that we can have the advertising budget of Bye Bye Baby and we can reach everybody, and we can have our services. Yeah. Exactly.
That's fantastic. I can't tell you how many times I've seen someone's baby registry and I'm like, oh, like they don't need that. You don't need that. You need a doula. You need a lactation consultant. You need support. Like, all these things, hundreds of these little trinkets that you can't even use as soon as you have the baby. The baby's gonna need to be 4 years old before they can use certain objects that are on there. And I just think like that moment when you get home from the hospital and you're healing and you're sore and then your milk comes in and you're just looking at this baby like, okay, what now? It would be so nice to already kind of have your arsenal, already know, okay, someone's going to come and help me with this, someone's going to come help me with latching and all sorts of different things. So I am all for it. I love it. I think this is a fantastic idea. And I agree, everyone should have a doula. Everyone should be on Be Her Village because that support is it's unmatched.
So true. I also want to point out, especially because we have Jess here, who's our childbirth ed hypnobirthing instructor and prenatal yoga, it is about that moment when we come home and we're like, oh, okay, this is life, right? But it's also well before that, because what we want is people on Be Her Village, and we have people on Be Her Village who are finding their childbirth course. Mm-hmm. And that childbirth course is changing the trajectory that they're on. And I know I entered motherhood, and this is, a big part of why I became a doula and why I founded Be Her Village. I entered motherhood after an emergency C-section. I was having trouble breastfeeding. My husband was back to work on day 2. I was struggling, and it colored my entire transition into motherhood. To enter motherhood through that rough birth left me struggling from the get-go. It left me in this place of depletion before I even started. And when we have people lining up that support and utilizing that childbirth education, the prenatal yoga, all the prenatal support groups, when we have mental health therapists who have, pre-birth relationship workshops, and like there's all these things that we can do before the baby even comes that we can have gifted to us in order to make even that transition from birth to post-birth a little bit smoother, so that we're landing in a place that's a little more whole and a little bit more grounded from the get-go.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's how I fell into Be Her Village. And hear my children. I had, I'm so fortunate. I had 2 amazing, really empowering badass birthing experiences that I absolutely loved. And we touched on, right, how much planning and work goes into your engagement and wedding perhaps, and how many thousands of dollars are put into that and how much preparation. And if we sort of put that same emphasis and energy and thought and investment into our pregnancies and birthing experiences and growing our families and the support after, how incredible would that be? So through my own birthing experiences, they were so empowering and this amazing, 2 days of my life. And so when my mentor and yogi, Elise Bowerman with Sweet Mama Yoga, she said, I'm going to offer a prenatal yoga teacher training program. I was like, sign me up. I want to share this with all the birthing people. Yes, I accredited that format so much to my positive birthing experiences. So through those classes and now in my own, we have circle time at the beginning and sharing, and it's a bit of childbirth education and and just sharing with one another. And we would have those conversations. Okay, what can we anticipate? What challenges might we face with partner, and what conversations can you have now? And here is a fact sheet regarding perinatal mood and anxiety disorders and postpartum anxiety, depression, and rage, because the rates are so high, and that's only the amount of birthing people who feel safe and comfortable enough and to share where they're honestly at, because that can even feel scary to say. And then let's talk about what support you'll want and need, or you could explore now to have in place once baby or babies come. And then I'm on Instagram and I see Be Her Village popping up, and it was like that. That's the thing that I've been saying. Please, yes, set up a registry of support, because we need it, because we're waking up to knowing that it's okay to need help, and please ask for help. But because that can feel so hard, here is an avenue to do that. And it's specific, because, right, it's like, okay, I can ask for help and I don't have to do this alone, but what do I do? Or maybe those close to you that you feel comfortable asking, they can only give so much or do so much, or maybe their very best is appreciated and we're grateful for it, but it's not enough, right? And that's okay. It's wonderful to have them and that, but one person can't be everything to everyone. It's not a fair expectation. And just knowing that there's so many of us out there that love and care and want to support, and it's out there and it's available to you. And let's help to bring the awareness, to educate all of those around us so that these services are embraced and understood, and we can all just hold each other and support in this huge transitional phase of life. And yes, turn it into a celebration, right? Have this longevity, because it can feel sometimes like 3 weeks after baby comes, everybody kind of falls off.
Yeah.
But
I forgot.
So that's where support that you have put an investment in, you can depend on those people being there, and that it's with the intentions that you are setting, because ultimately this person is working for you. You have paid them, right? So you get to have those conversations, or you found someone that's a good fit for you, and the services and the way that they offer it really resonate. So yeah.
And to have it like all kind of in a repository that's easy to access, that is so amazing, because it's so overwhelming to try to think, okay, I want this resource and this resource, I need to go here, there. The internet can just, so, you can have to kind of fight with it to get what you want out of it. But to have real people, I'm looking at you guys, Caitlin and Jess, and hearing your voices, and you're real people that actually care. And that makes such a huge difference, and it will make such a big impact on those that are entering this phase of life. That's such a huge transition.
Yeah. I mean, I think, Jess, you said it so beautifully, like, we're not supposed to do this. One person isn't enough. So even if you have a loving, supported, partner who has paid leave from work, if you're lucky enough to have a unicorn,
That unicorn, yes.
it's still not enough, because at the end of the day, like, what we're doing right now is an experiment. And I don't mean Be Her Village. Be Her Village is returning to how it's supposed to be. The experiment is women and parents trying to do this alone, and sitting in their small boxes, trying to hold it together, trying to meet all of their needs, trying to meet their baby's needs, trying to post perfect pictures on social media. And while relatives live far away, while people are working full time, we're supposed to have a village. It might be an overused term, but I used it in our company name because it is really returning to that idea. And you know what? In 2021, the village looks different. It doesn't look like huts and grandmas and, shucking corn together. It looks like, hey, you're having a baby? Awesome. Here's your postpartum doula. You're going to have the best meals and the best, laundry that week. And that's because of my gift to you. And oh my God, like, any of us, who wouldn't want laundry done for a week? Like, if I could buy you a diaper genie or laundry done for a week, I think we all know what we're opting for there, right? And there are so many of us are lucky to have people who love us and who want to help and who want to contribute to our care. But the current option is to buy you stuff, and so we're just like, hey, here's the tool to give the gift that you actually want to give. Because I have also looked at those registry listings, and I know they don't need any of the stuff on it, but I have two major obstacles, right? One is the care that they do need, I can't choose for them, because doula work, lactation support, pelvic floor therapy, body work, massage, acupuncture, those are all maternal mental health. Those are all really intimate services. You can't just say, hey, you should go to XYZ doula and that'll be good for you. You have to select someone that feels right. So that's part of what Be Her Village does. It helps the growing family shop for who they want and line up the village that they want, which is going to look really different from everybody else's village. And then there's the price factor. So like the gift that I'm giving, well, I'll just say I usually spend between $50 and $100 on a baby shower gift. And I'm in New York. That's like, I don't know what the rest of the country's doing, but that's New York. Everything's more expensive. Like, so $50 to $100 is not in line with almost any service, right? You can't get a doula for that much. You can't get a lactation visit for that much. You might be able to swing like a pelvic floor appointment one, which is usually not enough. So we have this disparity between what we're buying gifts, the amount of gifts that we're buying, and then the cost of the services. So on Be Her Village, the way that we're addressing that is we're breaking it down. So when you're visiting, it's a very retail-like experience. You're visiting someone's registry and you're saying, oh, I can contribute $100 to their doula. That's great. And so now I've helped them with that. Or I can buy them a $75 chiropractic package, and that contributes to that. And it really helps break down these barriers to, I want to give a gift. I love you. I know you don't need the stuff from the store. I work full time and don't really know how to care for a new mom. So here's a support person who will have a profound impact on your experience. It's the modern day village, right? And here's my part that I can give. And everyone feels really good after that. And we've seen in New York, the people who have registered and the people who have shared with their families, I can always tell when people have sent out a text or have like email blasted their friends and family, because like it's like boom, 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 the gifts come in. And it's so beautiful to see it happening and to see like, wow, that person is getting the support they need. They're not getting a room full of stuff. They're getting people caring for them.
That's so empowering too, like to know. My brain can't even comprehend how that would feel. Like to be, expecting your family is about to change and you have all the tools that you need. Amazing. Like it is so amazing.
Well, and I was
gives me goosebumps.
My kids, and I've said it multiple times in our podcast, my kids are the age of my clients now. So I'm a lot older than people think. I'm a lot older maybe than I sound. But
And look.
Yeah, like, he's a unicorn.
Yeah, speaking of unicorns, we have one in our midst.
but back when I was attending a lot of baby showers, I remember in my friend group, like the first baby, you would get a baby shower. And then the second baby, you would get what they call the baby sprinkle. But if it was a different gender, you might get away with having a little bit bigger a shower. But it was funny because to be on the attendant side of it or the guest side of it, I would hear people say, well, I bought them a diaper genie for their first baby. Why did they, do they think they need another one? Why are they having a shower? So when you're talking about stuff, there is a limited quantity in mind that, especially, it's not like you're getting a whole new friend group every 2 to 3 years with every baby that you have. So you're tapping the same people and you're trying to get creative with what you're asking them for the second baby, because people, maybe you're not having a baby shower or a baby sprinkle, but they want to get you something because they want to celebrate the fact that your family is growing. With Be Her Village, with this registry, it doesn't matter what number of baby it is.
You're supporting the well-being of the family.
Yeah.
Which is, it even changes the way you think about it in your mind, and you're supporting someone's well-being, so whether we're just giving them something. I personally would pay, there was no limit on what I would give to help support someone in their well-being and make sure that they were okay.
Yeah.
But when you think of a specific gift item, it kind of knocks it down a little bit to what you may think would fit in that category. So I love how it really kind of unboxes the whole, what it looks like to support a family by means of a registry.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
So Caitlin, you're saying that you guys have had a good amount of success there in New York, where you're located, and then we're in the Detroit area because we have international listeners, which is really kind of. I know it makes
you guys are fancy. You got international listeners. Hello, excuse me.
And I'm like, oh, we've got one in Japan. So I always try to give a location. So we're in the Metro Detroit area, and that's when I kind of got introduced to Be Her Village. I think the two of you, I don't even know if you planned it, but you both came at me from opposite sides. And I was like, okay, I have to check this out. So, yes, you are kind of you're Caitlin's right-hand person here in the Metro Detroit area, correct?
Yes, so I'm a connector with Be Her Village. So I'm here in the Detroit area and reaching out to my fellow birth workers and motherhood businesses, because I am just such a firm believer in the support that this can provide and how we can make that cultural shift, that I couldn't wait to just share it with everybody. And like Caitlin said, we are abundance theory based, and rising tide lifts all ships. And if we can get on this platform to help support the mamas and birthing people, I just think it's a beautiful thing. And Exie, I had multiple women around in circle time and prenatal yoga talking about their massage therapist Exie, and I thought, oh, that's a memorable name. Okay. And then I thought, all right, who am I going to share Be Her Village with? Exie. So that was my connection to you. And yes, I had mentioned how I found Caitlin earlier on in my Instagram feed, and then just started.
And you found me on LinkedIn.
We're everywhere. So Exie, we are live in New York, and I just, from a personal perspective, I just want to note for anyone who's listening, like, I am not a tech person. I don't know how to run or build a website. I am a mother who needed support. I'm a doula who saw a bunch of other people who needed support. And I thought of an idea, and I'm figuring it out as I go along. And that's really what sets Be Her Village apart from everyone else, is that we don't actually know what we're doing. No, I'm just
really good company, because we don't know what we're doing either.
Somebody help us. We're here. We need help. No, so I'm kidding, but I joke like that because I just want it to be clear. There are companies out there that are VC backed and have millions of dollars and have corporate interests, and like that is not Be Her Village. Be Her Village is literally a bunch of moms that were like, we need to do better. We need to do better. How do we do better? And we are working on that every single day. We were able to build the platform with a female developer, which was important to me to have. Even in the code, I wanted that female touch and that perspective in a really male-dominated industry. And we have a bunch of people who are just so incredibly heart-led and know that the answer is in the money. You got to follow the money, right? Because there's so many great organizations who are doing incredibly important work, and we want to partner with them. We want to lift up the solo doula. We want to partner with the major groups that are doing the work and have been doing it for decades. We are, I'm very proud of this, we are the official gift registry of Hypno Babies, and we're partnering with them. I know, isn't that exciting? We're going to be in all of their education books that they give out to their students. Every single Hypno Baby student is going to know about Be Her Village. And we're building more relationships like that. And we're building it through literally like dropping our kids off or having them on our lap during Zoom calls and telling people our story and drawing people in. So part of building that out is actually building out our community in Detroit and the Detroit metro area. And it's all because of Jess. Jess's energy is really magnetic, and her passion for this is really hard to, match anywhere else. And I see a lot of myself in her and me. And I've never been in a room with Jess, and I am vaccinated, and like the restrictions are lifting, and I'm like, you just say the word and I am coming to give you a hug. Word. Okay, I gotta go. So what we're doing right now is we're actually partnering with people like you, Exie, in the Detroit metro area in Michigan, and we're having conversations like this and introducing ourselves and inviting these birth workers to join our platform. And right now it's $10 to join for 6 months, and that's really, for us, it's like we want you to join, period. We want people who believe in what we're doing. So if you're listening to this podcast or you've read about us and it's like, oh yeah, this is a thing that we need to be doing, reach out to me, because I don't want money to ever be a barrier. That's not, the $10 is really representative of like, hi, we need to keep our lights on a little bit, so that the 10 bucks helps, it does. But also it's just a buy-in, like, yeah, I'll spend, 2 cups of coffee on this idea because it sounds like a good idea. At least that's how much coffee costs in New York. I don't know what the Detroit prices are. So what we're doing is we're building out that community, and we've had a lot of enthusiasm. A lot of people are signing up, and it's so cool to see that happen. And then in August, COVID willing, we are going to throw a huge launch event. We're going to rent out a space. Yeah. We are going to have like this incredible family fair. We don't even have language or words around it. It's more, I'm saying it to manifest it at this point, but we're doing it. It's in August. We know it's in August. That's that much we've nailed down. And we're going to bring together all of the businesses that Be Her Village has worked with, and we're going to give them an opportunity to highlight what they're doing and connect with families. We're going to invite families in, and we're going to start, Be Her Village in Detroit and have the community be able to benefit from the tool that we're offering.
Awesome. My cheeks hurt so much. I'm like,
So I want to mention, first of all, I can't wait to see you guys in August. We're going to see everybody in August. So I want to mention one other thing that we haven't really talked about, and we touched on it, I think, a little bit in the beginning about equity and access. So Be Her Village is really about creating access and equity. And I think that there is a certain section, right? There's like the extremely well-resourced people who maybe they'll use us. I don't know, but it's not really who we're as concerned about. I don't know how to say that politely. Okay. And then we have the people in the middle. I think it's people like all of us on this call. It's people who have friends and family with hundreds to thousands of dollars that they want to spend on them and that they will spend on them. And Be Her Village is acting as that bridge between those families and the support. But then we have the people who don't have that network, that don't have those funds, whose family, who their friends and family don't have those funds. And those are the people, quite honestly, that are ignored the most, that are the most under-resourced, and that suffer the worst outcomes. And so Be Her Village is partnering with local nonprofits in each area that we're going to. And we don't have a Detroit one nailed down yet. We've been in talks with a couple of people to see what it can look like. I don't want to name any names, so we're talking to nonprofits that are doing, we have parameters that we're looking for, people who are doing on the ground work. So one is a group who provides free services to women in Detroit proper, I guess is the name, in Detroit proper, that and they're trying to open a birth center, and they are just doing such incredible work. We want to make donations to them. And then we have another contact we've been talking to at a group that provides loss doulas for either families who are going through a loss or families that are choosing termination or not choosing termination but need to have a termination, and giving them support. So what we do with Be Her Village is we're able to support those families making a registry, but with every single gift that's funded, so every gift that's bought on Be Her Village, a portion of that gift is being donated from Be Her Village to one of these local nonprofits that is working with women and families on the ground, because we think that if we're going to have this tool and this power to do good, we want to do good twice. If we can, we basically just sit around thinking of ways that we can impact the world faster and more than we currently are. So I just wanted to make that clear for people who are listening, that it's not just the mom or the family that you're buying a gift for, you're also helping someone in the local community so that we can get that equity and access faster and sooner in every way that we can.
And if my memory recalls correctly, there's a way that we can all help support Be Her Village through the FedEx grant, right? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So we are in the running for a $50,000 FedEx small business grant, which is very exciting, and my fingers and toes and everything are crossed. And you are able to vote for us. It's only through March 24th, and I'm not sure when this is going to air. But you can go to the link, and I'm sure you guys will put it up there. You can go to FedEx, or actually you can go to the FedEx Small Business Grant and search for Be Her Village. You can read our story, you can see our pictures, and you can vote for us there. And you can vote every single day, once every 24 hours leading up to March 24th. So we're very excited about that. It just goes in line with what I said before. We're moms that care, and we're funding this, from our bank accounts, and we are working hard and watching every penny, and we're not paying ourselves. So it's going into like development costs and, and graphics, and really just getting the bare bones of the company together so that we can reach the most amount of people. For people who are listening who either, if FedEx grant, we can't vote anymore because it's after March 24th, one of the best ways that you can help us right now is by telling a friend about us, whether it's a birth worker or it's somebody if it's your doula that you use, or a pregnant mom or someone who might have a baby. Tell them about Be Her Village, have them visit our website, sign up for our email list. That sort of thing is so incredibly valuable to us, because it's a matter of telling the masses that we exist, right? Because it's a free way to get the support that you need. Like it's really a no-brainer when you think about it. And for birth workers, it's a way to tap into this community and get access to the people who are looking for your support. So it's just a matter of our marketing budget doesn't match, the baby list and the Bye Bye Baby and the other companies. So the most helpful thing you can do, just like the most helpful thing you can do for any small business, leaving reviews, telling your friends, and sharing the word as much as you can. That's extremely helpful for us.
Yes, I'm determined. I'm going to share, and I'm going to vote for you guys to win, and all these things, I'm
Thank you so much. It's so impactful. Like, I'm the one on our social media. Like, you DM our Instagram account, it's me. You go to behervillage.com and you go to the chat bot, it's me. And actually, funny story, how much it really is me. I wish it wasn't. I can't wait to get big and it's not me. Only not because of all the rest of the people. My son, when he's at school, will open a tab on his Chromebook when he's supposed to be doing his work, and he will go to behervillage.com and he will message me through the support app, like for people who need help using it. And he's like, and he pretends to be my husband. He goes, "Hi, it is Kelvin," which is "Hi, it is Kelvin. We should give Caesar pizza," or like he's so cool. He up all these schemes, you know, and I'm just like, "Hi, Caesar, go do your math work, will you please?" So it's us, you know, we are a small business with really, really big ideas and a platform that can help millions and millions of people. So every little bit helps for us, for sure.
And I think that's really, because you mentioned some bigger names, but I think that's really one of the really, really special things. You know, I've been in business. It's now 17 years. I just realized this month, but or April. Anyway, it's been a while. And I got into the birth work. I mean, I started in prenatal massage immediately, and then I got into birth doula support, and then I became a childbirth educator, and all in this area. And I've really seen the shift and the mindset of the consumers, of the parents to be, and of their communities that surround them in understanding and appreciating prenatal massage. Mm-hmm. Like that's not just something that, you know, is at a Kardashian level of recipient. Mm-hmm. And I have doctors and midwives who will recommend that their clients come to me, that their patients come to me, because they see the benefit. And then I, in turn, will see that they need maybe a little bit of, you know, a little bit of direction in the way that they carry themselves and things like that. And I'll send them to someone like Jeff or Elise. And so it really is these one person, because I'm the same way. You call and it's me. Mm-hmm. You know, you email and it's me. But there's a certain, how many of us have called a number and been put on hold, or got the robotic voice, or got transferred to, you know, somebody who we can tell is just reading a manual that we could probably find on Google. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So having that connection to the kind of the person that's behind it all is really important and special. And I think it helps it to be more like, these people really are here for me. So when they sign up or when they use the registry, if they have a problem, they're getting you or someone in the future very close to you.
Yes.
And when they are,
Jess.
and the same thing for us as the business owners, you know, as the birth workers, we're getting you if we run into an issue. And then the client and the recipient, they are getting their support, they're getting their service from a small business or a micro business, or like you said, a mompreneur or a solopreneur. Mm-hmm. So the buck stops here, and you don't have to go far to get that kind of tailored and individualized care. And I think people are really craving that, especially now with the pandemic. They really crave that individualized, you know, one-on-one kind of care. And that's kind of what Be Her Village really promotes to me.
Mm-hmm. It is. And, you know, I have to tell you, when the pandemic started, we were supposed to launch April 1st, 2020 in New York. So obviously not a great time. And I remember delaying the launch. My husband had COVID. It was all extremely stressful watching the numbers and just grappling with our new reality. And I remember feeling such hope, because there were two things that occurred to me besides like, oh my God, it's all over. You know, the two things that occurred to me were this. One, this virtual support, while it's lovely, it's not cutting it, right? This being cut off from our community, this pandemic is proving our point at Be Her Village that we need each other. We can't do this alone. And you know, virtual support is great. Zoom happy hours and Zoom talks with friends where I was able to just like put all my worries out there. That was what got me through. My community was what got me through. And the second point I forgot because I already talked about it. Oh, I remember. I'm sorry. Edit. Wait.
We've all been there.
Click. Okay. So, and the other thing that we were seeing in the pandemic was shop local. Everybody saw how small businesses were were hit so hard. And I saw it in my own community, and I know others saw it in theirs. Shop local, go to the restaurant, order out, support the people in our community that are small business owners that are basically, without a business at this point. There was this rallying cry to support our local economy with our funds. Because the thing is, it's not a local economy. It's not local businesses. It's your neighbor.
Right.
That is who you're supporting. And so that is what Be Her Village is. It's like, hey, let's support moms, but also that money doesn't go to China and to some billionaire's, bank account that they don't even see. It goes to local moms. It goes to local business owners who then continue that cycle of spending it and supporting and flourishing our communities. And so Be Her Village, like our vision is to grow huge, because that's how I think, but in micro businesses. We want the biggest network of tiny, tiny, tiny businesses that are really, that's the heartbeat of America, is these small businesses and people supporting each other. And money at that point becomes an exchange of energy. It is like, hey, you support me, I'll support you. Let's keep this love within our community, and help each other and improve our health outcomes. And Be Her Village is the platform to do that on. And it's really exciting because, yeah, it's a gift registry, but you said it earlier, Exie, and it feels like, for me, it feels revolutionary to kind of just reject this age-old idea of like, we're gonna load up parents with a bunch of stuff and then leave them on their own. Nope, we're gonna say, I'm doing this differently. I'm gonna parent differently. I'm gonna support that parent differently. And we're going to try a different way, because the way we're doing it right now, or that we have done it, isn't really working for anybody. So let's be rebels and get a Be Her Village registry and keep the funds in our own communities.
I love it. This is so fantastic. And I'm all energized and ready to spread the word and continue to support families. So thank you both so much for joining us and
thank you
for
so
telling
much,
us
Anna.
all about this fantastic mission. I'm so excited. I could just jump out of this seat.
Was there anything that we didn't cover for either one of you before we say goodbye to everybody?
I think we got it. I mean, I think this was such a wonderful conversation. I mean, I could talk about it all day, but I think we got it. I think it's great, and I hope that the people listening, learn something and sign up and come check us out and get involved. And I just want to invite anybody who's listening who maybe doesn't fall into a category, a gift buyer, a new parent, a birth worker, and you're just excited, just reach out, because there is endless ways to be involved, and we need all the support we can get. And so if you want to be in touch with me, my email is caitlin@behervillage.com. So it's KAITLIN@behervillage.com. I would love to hear from you. Or just go to the chat bot on the website like my son does.
And Caitlin, what about our listeners who maybe are in another city? How does that work for somebody who's not in Detroit or in New York at this point?
That's a great question. So the website can be used for anybody who's in the United States. So we actually have registrants in Massachusetts, Florida, California. We have people all over. And what they're doing is they're creating custom registry listings. So they are finding, the support that they need, but they're also able to find virtual support services. Many of our providers do virtual support, and so it's not really location based. So we welcome anybody that wants support. They can use it anywhere in the United States right now.
Yeah, that's what's so beautiful, is that you can go in, you can modify your registry. You don't have to have it all figured out. You can know that you want this service and this person, or you can have a general idea and add one or change it. You can have the custom listings, and then all that money is going right into your bank account. Be Her Village or the gift buyer, nobody else is getting involved in your monies or your scheduling or who you're using. You have full ownership and control and can take your time with figuring it out when you're ready. And when you know the next thing, then you can do the next thing, right?
Yeah.
We also have, I love that, Jess, and we also have tons of educational resources. We have a podcast, we have blog articles, we have ways for people to come and learn. So it's not a thing where you like have to come and understand everything you want. You can come, you can use our registry guide. We have a whole guide that actually just walks you through all the types of things that you might want to think about. And that's one of the things that's exciting too for our birth workers is like, you can be a massage therapist that's getting registrants that came to make, you know, a registry to pay for their birth photographer. And then they were like, oh, massage, I do need a massage, you know, or, oh, there's that cool hypnobirthing class. What is that? And like, what's Reiki and what's, you know, health coaching? And there's all these different things to think about. And so we're not just a place for people who know they need support. We're a place for people who are curious about support, who kind of have this sense that the traditional baby registry isn't quite cutting it. And they've heard about maybe doulas, and they've heard that there's something different, or maybe they're just kind of nervous about becoming a parent and they're not sure what's in it for them. They can come to our site and learn. They can poke around. They can, you know, sign up for our email list. They can look at our blog. There's
going on constantly.
There's so many events. Oh my goodness. There's so many events. Yeah, we have events. That's one of the things we do as well. Actually, I forgot about that, Jess.
I haven't learned it yet, so I am so excited to be able to learn more because I'm on there. I don't know everything.
Yes. So there, we have events right now. Everything is virtual, and we do free events, and we're going to start offering paid events like childbirth education and, you know, prep classes and support groups. And essentially, the partners and the community of birth workers that we're building, we're offering them a platform to say, hey, you know, you don't have to go invent your own course and get your own audience and fill them up and figure out all of the tech side of things. What do you want to do? And we have people, you know, I just had one of our movement specialists. She's a chiropractor, but she's like a holistic women's health provider. And she messaged me and said, hey, I think I really want to do a functional movement class. You know, can we get that set up? Sure. And April 7th, we're going to have a functional movement class online. Anyone can join. So Exie, you're going to get an email probably from Jess, but we're starting to do that in Detroit because now we're building out our Detroit community of birth workers. And now we want to start reaching Detroit parents and saying, hey, look at what we have. And we find at Be Her Village that we have so many amazing providers. And what we think about, like literally I go to work every day and I'm like, how do I get these providers? How do I get the women and families to know how awesome they are? Because I talk to them, I talk to you guys, I know how great you are. And each and every one of us has a story, right? An origin story. Like, why did we get into this work? Mm-hmm. It's never for the money. It's never. I have not yet met anybody. And if it is, then you're in the wrong profession. So.
You don't last. If that's your motivation, you're not going to last in the profession because it's a giving profession. You have to give.
It is a giving profession, and permission. Consent is important. But yes, it is about really just like, we want to have people have a chance to tell their stories. And we actually, so on our podcast, our registry we're building, right? Like, it's like we're building out the registries, but in the meanwhile, like, we have this great platform. Let's just shout from the rooftops how great everybody is. So we had a podcast episode from one of our maternal mental health specialists who's a Black woman. And we talked about, I think I said this perhaps off air, it's called The Myth of the Strong Black Woman. And it was something that came really organically in our conversation about her birth and how that led her to become a maternal mental health specialist. And she started talking about the myth of the strong Black woman and how that can be something that sounds really powerful, but can be used in a really racist way. And it affects how Black women are cared for in the healthcare system. We had an incredible conversation. I highly recommend everybody go check it out on the Be Her Village podcast. And she called me the day it aired. She called me and she was like, hi, I just got a client from the podcast. They said they heard me on the podcast. And I was like, hey, look at that, you know? And so we're always doing events to highlight our providers and to help women and families understand who the care providers are behind these terms. Mm-hmm. You know, because you hear doula, you know, what even is a doula? You hear pelvic floor provider, you hear yoga, you hear childbirth ed, and they kind of just sound like umbrella terms, but there are beautiful, smart people filled with wisdom, filled with big hearts behind each of those professions. And that's part of what Be Her Village is doing, is we're introducing, you know, these two communities to one another through events, through our blog, through our podcast. So yeah, so stay tuned for the events. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook. You can join our email list. And yeah, all the events are virtual right now, so anybody can join.
And all of your social media links, are those on the Be Her Village website?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Yes, on the bottom.
I will make sure that I have that connection in the show notes. So all anybody has to do is look there to start going down that pathway to where you are.
Amazing. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited too. It gets me excited talking to you guys about it, because like I'm definitely already excited about it, but it makes me, it's so cool what we're doing. You know, sometimes I just think to myself, like, I can't believe this is what we're doing. You know what I mean? Because it's like, who am I? Who am I to do this? But also, like, who am I to not do this? Because it needs to be done, and people are excited about it, and it's so much fun to just have conversations like this and to just keep putting the message out there. And people are coming out of the woodwork. You know, the registrants are coming, the birth workers are coming, but other people like, hey, I've run my own business for years. How can I help you? And I'm like, oh, okay, just tell me everything you know. But it's just like the support is so beautiful. And I think when you show up authentically and organically, and you just grow it from conversation to conversation to conversation, this is how you do it. And this is how you find your people, right? Because we don't have the ad budget anybody else does. We don't have fancy marketers. Like, we're just people telling our story. And when other people hear that story and resonate with it, you start to build that community. And it's a community that is engaged and excited and will work hard and help us reach our goals.
Yes, and we are going to impact the next generation, because the pregnant people who are looking now at what's going to happen with their birth, those babies are going to be impacted by whatever support or lack of support they have at that pivotal time in their lives. So this is a generational impact.
Absolutely. Exie, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because this support impacts maternal mental health. I mean, like, all the other things aside, it kind of doesn't matter which service you use, right? Like, there's so many different types of services, but all of them affect our mental health. And mental health affects babies. It affects how they're parented. They've done studies on women who are suffering from postpartum mood and anxiety disorders, and they look at their babies less. And their babies are looking at them and trying to get responses. That's how they learn. That's how they bond. And they're looking at them less. They're making less eye contact. They're responding and reacting less. So while we might be, there, we might not be present. And that's where this support is having ripple effects well beyond, the actual birthday or the actual pregnancy. It is rippling into motherhood and into parenthood and how our kids are raised. And it's just, I look at my daughter. My daughter just turned 5 yesterday. And, every day I go into work and I think about her. I have a picture of her on my desk, me and her on Easter 2 years ago. And this is for her. This is because, many times, especially as women and mothers, we won't do something for us. We'll do it for our kids. And you know what? Like, I look at my birth experiences and I look at how I struggled all 3 times. And I think, well, I can handle that. I could do it. Why should I change the world for me? I already got through it and I'm strong. There goes the strong word again. But I look at her and I go, nope, because it can't be like this for her. This is not the world I want her to become a mother. And if she chooses to become a mother, I want a world where the support is automatic, where the gifts are for her, and where we can support the whole family across generations. It's so beautiful, actually.
That's so moving. I love it.
And in this way, and you are the queen of the world already to many of us.
I love it. I'm gonna queen of the world. That is, by the way, like, not something I have said out loud, I think, in 30 years. So you guys got me all comfortable telling my childhood dreams.
I'm gonna go in the chat and put little crown emojis in there, just so you know I'm thinking about you.
We're all on board with you being the queen of the world.
Same.
I'm good with it.
Do I get more naps if I get to be queen of the world?
You desire whatever you want.
Oh, I love it.
Fantastic.
Well, thank you. Thank you
Mhm.
all. Thank you for joining us and dealing with the technical difficulties we had ahead
Of
of
course.
All
Of
good.
course.
It's
Thank you so much for having us.
character building moment. So we like that.
Absolutely.
And thank you again. I cannot
Of
say
course.
the support that I have received from you ladies in the last few days has been able to hold me up and prop me up, and I hope our listeners really take that to heart, that that's what we as human beings need to be for each other. Instead of tearing down, we need to build up.
Mhm.
That's
Absolutely.
it.
Mhm.
So beautiful. Thank you both.
Thank you.
You, Chana.
Thank you. Oh, you
Oh,
can just stop it. Yeah, just stop it.
I can't see it.
Oh, okay. I'm like, don't leave.